New chapter for TNT. We're red, ready, and responsible. Vote PNM. Great is the PNM.
All is it in your hand. PNM is the plan. Ready, hold it steady. PNM, we are one.
Where's it? Let me hear you all. To our political leader, Dr. Keith Rowley, our deputy political leaders, Rohan Sinanan, Nian Gatsby Dolly, to all other executive officers of the People's National Movement, to our Lady Vice Chair, also our Attorney General, to all of our winning candidates who are getting ready to declare victory on the 28th of April. Welcome to the Kwezi in the heart of Sawa. Good night, good night, good night. Tonight, I would like the opportunity to speak to the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago from right here in the Kwezi, along with Mr. Anthony Roberts, whose promenade and plaza they say this is. Citizens, I have been listening very carefully for a number of years, and in particular over the last few weeks. And I have been listening to what people are saying, and in particular, what our citizens who care about Trinidad and Tobago are saying. I have heard from many that we have concerns about what is going on. I have heard from many who have concerns about how we are going to manage as the world around us changes on a daily basis. And what I have come here to tell you tonight is on the 28th of April, citizens of Trinidad and Tobago have an opportunity. And it is an opportunity that the People's National Movement has given us. Because the opportunity is an opportunity for change. But the opportunity is not fresh change. It is change that comes with a strong team. It is change that comes with a young, vibrant, energetic, intelligent team. And it is change that comes on a team built on a strong platform that has guided Trinidad and Tobago over the last 10 years. And this is what the People's National Movement is offering Trinidad and Tobago on the 28th of April. Now, by now, most people should know that I have real difficulties with when I hear people lying, when I hear people being dishonest, and most importantly, when I see and hear people who are trying to destroy our Trinidad and Tobago. So tonight, I am asking all citizens who care about Trinidad and Tobago, all citizens who want to build a stronger and more resilient Trinidad and Tobago, all citizens who are prepared to do what is right for Trinidad and Tobago and the future generations, in particular our children, to join with the People's National Movement, to join with this team, to join with me as we write the next chapter for Trinidad and Tobago. Allow me to start off tonight where I left off last night. Because last night, I addressed the issue and the difficult issue of crime. Crime is an issue that bothers all of us in Trinidad and Tobago who are law-abiding citizens. And I told you at the start what is going on right now with the use of social media by those on the other side. And I warned Trinidad and Tobago because it was upsetting to me as someone who cares about Trinidad and Tobago. I told you a story about a staunch young supporter who has stood at my side for the last 10 years in Port of Spain, North St. Anne's West, who lives on the hills in East Port of Spain, and that a paid UNC activist supporting the UNC candidate going up against me in my constituency followed that young man and his wife, who was dressed in his PNM garb after supporting us at a meeting, walking back up the hill of Quarry Street with his wife, and to see a paid UNC supporter attack him and his wife, and it is irrefutable that that was a paid UNC supporter. I told you, Trinidad and Tobago, that is crime and criminality. You remember last night, I drew to your attention that the UNC was paying people to dress and talk about yellow is the code. And I warned Trinidad and Tobago that there was a young man on social media in a UNC shirt talking about how he bought 1,000 tie wraps to tie up the hands and the feet of PNM people so they cannot vote on the 28th. You all remember that story? How many of you all saw that video? Well, I could tell you tonight that the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service have arrested that UNC paid supporter for exactly what he was threatening to do. I am warning us here in Trinidad and Tobago, do not let Cambridge Analytica 2.0 take root in Trinidad and Tobago, because what is insulting, what I find offensive as a citizen of Trinidad and Tobago and a person who cares about Trinidad and Tobago, is the way that they are going about trying to mislead this population. They are recruiting our young black men and our young black girls, paying them $40,000 and putting them there in yellow is the code to attack PNM. And I am wondering, why is it that they are using racism as usual as part of their campaign? So I stand here tonight and I ask all of us who care about Trinidad and Tobago, all of us who are concerned about how they treat us in Trinidad and Tobago, to reject the UNC on the 28th of April and to vote the People's National Movement. Another scheme that they are trying to pull on us in Trinidad and Tobago is this. I have heard the UNC saying that they will pay public servants 10 to 14% back pay. I have heard our newly minted Minister of Finance, who has spent decades in the Ministry of Finance, say that that is impossible because the money isn't there. I have heard the UNC unable to say where the money will come from. But there is something worse taking place, because they are fooling public servants. And tonight I want to speak to public servants in Trinidad and Tobago from right here in Ikwese. They are telling public servants in Trinidad and in Tobago. When I was walking in Tobago last week, public servants were asking me why the government has not made an offer to increase salaries. The UNC starting offer is 10%, which will cost us over $6 billion in back pay. And it will cost over $1 billion a year. So that's $7 billion with no revenue. They have offered to go up to 14%, which is $8.5 billion in back pay and $1.5 billion in revenue. $10 billion that we cannot afford. Well, I want to tell the public servants of Trinidad and Tobago today, the policemen, the fire service, the teachers, and all of the public servants, that the government, this government, has offered you, and I confirmed it on my way here this evening. You have been offered 5% 5%, at 1%, 1%, and 3% for that period that they're talking about. And for the population to understand this, that is the maximum, unfortunately, because let me ask you this. You think if a PNM government and this government could pay 10% and not bankrupt the country, we wouldn't do it? We would do it in the morning. But we have to be responsible. We have to make sure there's a future for our children. And I stand here tonight and say that our public servants who are being misled, you have been offered 5%, which is $3.4 billion in back pay. And it will mean $930 million a year in additional funds. But that is what the government has offered to you. I am asking you, do not be misled by snake oil salesmen. Do not be misled by people who will promise you the world and not be able to deliver it. You have the ability to accept what has been offered by the CPO, and as soon as they can afford more as we go forward, we will. I am warning Trinidad and Tobago, we have to be very careful about what we're told. So tonight, don't be fooled. Tonight, understand you have a government that cares about you. You have a government that is finding responsible ways to offer you more and to do more for more citizens. And that leads me to my second point. Because I understand, along with the cabinet, that when our citizens go to get disability grants, when our citizens go to get housing grants, to get self-help, to get access to your pensions, that unfortunately there are difficulties that you face. And I am telling you here tonight, it is unacceptable to be told after you come this week and you go back next week, your file is lost. And to be told, as I heard a young woman say today, that she had been applying for a grant, contacted the office, and all they say is, you didn't get through, you're rejected, but not tell her why. Because sometimes as a member of parliament, when we inquire for our constituents, we are told, well, they didn't bring this document, or they didn't bring that document. A PNM government elected on the 28th of April is going to prioritize and push not only the customer service that you get at every single government office, but also what we have begun doing, the digitization. So you will make sure when you go, you file there. So when you go to get your pension, we are putting in place a system, because everybody knows the date that they become eligible for their pension. Everybody knows the date of their birthday and when they will qualify for a pension. We are going to prioritize that you get your pension with minimum interaction at the office, because it will all be computerized. But we're also going to demand that people are treated properly and that you get proper customer service at all of our government institutions. And as I told you a few weeks ago, in return, we must respect public servants and we must also be respectful to them, because when everyone treats everyone properly, immediately it will get better. So I stand here tonight and tell you as well, we have looked, for example, at the means test for things like food cards and grants and families that live, and without these opportunities to get that help from the government, they would be in serious difficulty. And we have heard the stories that unfortunately when you get a few days work, they take you off of the system. Or unfortunately, if somebody else in the household is working hard to help, but they still have other people that they're helping in the household, they take you automatically off of the system. So when the other night you heard us say that we're increasing the food cards from 13,300 to 26,600, doubling it. In addition to that, we are revising the means test to allow the persons that I've just spoken about to get access, so more people will have access and not be frustrated by the system. Tonight, I am not spending too much time talking because I need to save my voice. But also tonight, we have a very special speaker, a political leader, who I want to address us with the maximum amount of time. So citizens, as the team continues to address you all in the coming days, listen very carefully. And I give you the assurance, and you can judge by our track record, and you can judge me personally by my track record, that we will continue to fight hard and to fight clean and to fight for what is right for Trinidad and Tobago. And I will do that on your behalf and all of those children who we are bringing into this world. And you heard your Minister of Education tonight talk about book grants, yes? And you heard us say a few days ago that we're taking VAT off of all school books and all school uniforms, yes? Tonight, your Minister of Education touched on book grants and said we're currently giving out 20,000 book grants every academic year. Well, I can tell you that your next Member of Parliament for St. Anne's East, the Honorable Nian Gatsby Dolly, has advocated long and hard on behalf of all of the families who have children going to school and all of the children going to school. And we have looked at the figures, and responsibly tonight, I can tell you on behalf of the next PNM Cabinet of Trinidad and Tobago that we are going to increase the book grant allowances to 30,000 of our meaningful citizens, an increase of 10,000. So citizens, be assured that you have a government that does care about you. Because caring for citizens does not mean selling you what cannot be sold. Caring for your citizens does not mean collapse the country and promise what cannot be afforded. I told you last night that the price of oil had dropped to $63 a barrel from the 75 we predicted. That means there's a drop in our revenue. But the PNM government has put things in place where we have earned more revenue for our gas. And I repeat it here tonight, you have seen a government in the last 9.5 years work hard and tirelessly to ensure that we build our revenue. And we have done so. But I am warning you that all that they promise is impossible to achieve. So do not be fooled. And public servants, take what I have told you tonight, because I recognize that some of the irresponsible leaders are not telling you what you have been offered by the government through the CPO, the Chief Personnel Officer. So rest assured that this government, this bright, energetic team, this bright, energetic team of persons with experience, this bright, energetic PNM team that has the intelligence and has the leaders to take us forward. With me as your Prime Minister, I ask you, all of the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago who want to join us to build a brighter future for our children and to write the new chapter for Trinidad and Tobago, to join us. And on the 28th of April, in a few weeks' time, to go into your polling station and to go into the booth and to confidently put your X next to the Balize. And on the night of the 28th of April, to join the team and join the PNM and join me as we say, great is the PNM, great is the PNM, great is the PNM.
It's a movement, we all in together, not just so one.
This is a new chapter. Join us on the road to victory. On Monday, April 14th, La Hokata, the People's National Movement, will be having a public meeting at Phase 2 HDC Car Park. We're red, ready, and responsible. Vote PNM. Great is the PNM.